I was hated by my father my whole life because he thought that my mother cheated on him. So I gave him the paternity test and made him miserable before I cut contact. My father used to work in the military. He had left my mother for a long time, throughout her pregnancy and a good 2 years into my birth. So when he came back, he had a 2-year-old son. He was sure I was not his but this neighbor because the neighbor used to help out my mother. My mother never agreed to a paternity test. He could still have done it, but she was unequivocal that she would drag him through hell if he did that. She said she did not cheat on him. He has no evidence of it and no reasonable logic behind it. If he can't trust her, the marriage is over, and he can sign half of his everything for her and look for a new wife. He never behaved severely with her. People say he loves her, but in his eyes, I was the evidence. He blamed me for everything. He never let me call him dad, never hugged me or picked me up. I have always been an eyesore for him. Somehow, they didn't divorce, but I have always seen them fighting because of me. My father would do something neglectful towards me, my mother would call it out, they would start arguing, and it would end in my mother shouting and crying that he still believed that she cheated on him. And then my father would apologize and comfort her. But my mother did take care of me, well, until my brother was born. My brother Jack was born when I was 11. Things got worse for me since then. It's not like they were abusing me. He never raised his voice or beat me. I was fed, clothed, tuition fees paid, and had a roof over my head, but that was all. My mother stopped putting effort into sticking up for me. If he did something mean to me, she would just avoid it. I was the enormous pink elephant in the room. Bringing me up would always start a fight. She was tired of constantly fighting for me and chose peace, avoiding my existence. He would call Jack his son, pointedly at the dining table when I was eating with them. At first, my mother used to say, "But Evan is your son too, honey." Now she would just eat silently or change the topic. When introduced to new people, he would say, "This is my son Jack, and this is Evan." He would never show up at any event regarding me. I was despised in the small town community, where people would whisper, "Isn't that the illegitimate boy?" Yeah, poor dude. He was sacrificing his life for the country when his wife was sleeping around. It was evident that I would move out when I turned 18 and go NC with them. They did not object. My mother said, "Oh, but you should visit us sometimes." But he said, "I should also be one when I turn an adult. I should make my fortune and not wait to get stuff from him." I turned 18 on 27 of last month and will go to another state when this month ends. I'll stay at a friend's place and hopefully find a job. I have saved up some money, but it's not much. I guess I can manage it for a few months. Before doing that, I wanted to see the paternity test done. It gave me a sense of closure. My mother also agreed, though reluctantly, when I said I wanted to do it. Now comes the part that most of you probably have already seen coming. Yeah, it turns out I am his after all. Mother is in the "I told you so" mod. He is devastated for all those years wasted on hatred. Poor guy. Now he wants to make it up to me. He is begging me to stay. He says he's sorry. He has made a mistake. I am not budging. I'm not letting him know which state I'm going to, what I will do, or any of my contact info. He didn't feel like keeping them before and doesn't need to now. I also told him I would never say anything about him to my children. I will never show him my face as promised, and I will never accept anything from him. He told everyone about this to convince me to stay or keep in contact. I told them he was not my father. Everyone is saying I'm being unnecessarily cruel. To someone who has made a mistake, it's not his fault. The situation was like that.